Whoa, video. Yeah, it's really, this is a rough day. The water heater went, so I have a backache. My shoulder blades are killing me. My knee is bad, and the water heater's leaking. Just nothing, just nothing going right. Anyway, it's not true. Some things are just fine. But anyway, just that, I just don't have any patience. You know, I used to not give a fuck. Oh, yeah, something happened. Okay, who cares? Fix it. I just don't. I'm just moving everything. Oh, the thought of it. No, I don't want to. Yeah, that's it. I don't want to. So anyway, that's sort of the subject of this video. So this Stefan Molyneux has referenced antinatalism in a way. So some guy called in, wormy kind of guy, but anyway, posing the question in some kind of bizarre way, because some author apparently thinks that parents just impose their dysfunction, you know, their life, their childhood trauma on their children. That's the way it was phrased. And so that's why they shouldn't have kids, is because they're going to impose their childhood trauma. Frankly, it doesn't even make much sense to me. Childhood wasn't that bad. The trauma is when you wake up and start smelling the lies and the deceptions and the nonsense. But anyway, at least my childhood was really not that bad, I mean, frankly. But it's really about imposing, if you're going to argue about it anyway, it's imposing the pointless ambition, right? There's just pointless ambition. These parents are just playing stage parent. You know, they're presuming that their children, one would hope they're presuming, will be doing some activity that is somehow more rewarding than their activity. Like they're a Mets fan, but their kid will be a super Mets fan. Or, you know, they like to world travel, so their kid will love to world travel, and he can go world traveling, or I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. They're not thinking, so let's just concede that point. They don't think. That's why dumb people have more kids, is because they really don't think. Yeah, they're assholes, because they're idiots. Deterministically. I mean, you know, the comments on my last video, there's actually a bunch of comments, and Andacondabot is, you know, glibly mushing through it all, contradicting himself every 2 seconds, so it is worth a read. You know, if you can find that video, whatever it was called. Because it's just all contradiction. You know, he can be Inquisitioner, you can't be Inquisitioner, that's all. It's just saying he can pass judgments, you can't pass judgments. I don't know, it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. He knows what justice is. You're just doing retribution, or some kind of crap like that. It just doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But the bottom line is yes, he's allowed to call his rape of your right not to be here, not a rape. Yeah. Yeah. It's that simple. He doesn't have to account for anything. And, well, like I said, the contradictions are just obvious. 1 minute democracy is the way you decide, the next minute democracy isn't the way. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Look, there's a social contract. I'll do it just a little quick, because it's sort of related to this Stefan Molyneux idiot. You make certain contract rules that don't have anything to do with justice. There's no fucking such thing as justice, okay? Get over that idea. Okay? When somebody is harmed or killed, you can't undo it. You can't make it right. There's no such thing as justice. All you're going to try to do is make something good out of the bad. But it has to be a new thing, a new good thing. You can't fix the thing that's ruined and destroyed. All you can do is try to prevent some other thing from getting ruined or destroyed, or create some kind of absolute good or something. But clearly the idea in our justice system is to say, hey, let's, out of this bad thing happening, let's make a deterrent that might prevent 2 future ones, or 5 future ones, or 10 future ones. So yeah, depending on how draconian you want to make the punishment, you can deter an awful lot of people from doing bad things. I mean, if you have a, you know, shove a telephone pole up your ass penalty for jaywalking, you're not going to have too many damn jaywalkers. Yeah, it's going to be ugly when you're shoving telephone poles up people's asses for just jaywalking, but yeah, you'll be free of the jaywalkers. for the most part, except for the colossally idiotic. And then you have to say, well, did they jaywalk because they were too fucking stupid to understand it? But again, it really doesn't matter in such a system because you're preventing so much harm. Let's say jaywalking was rape. That you win. You're still way ahead. Yeah, and that's justice. So justice would be if the future profits from what you do in the present, then it's justice. And my argument is preventing harm is a no-brain winner. And so all I have to do is keep piling up the prevented harms, and there's no way you're going to surpass me with your I saved ambition. I saved a Mets fan. Yeah, you can pile up your Mets fans to the moon, and it's not going to add up to a single one of the cancers I prevented. Yeah. It really isn't. So it's just all win. Preventing harm is all win. Playing this, I'm going to make a gratified desire, is risk and failure in the end because they all die. It really isn't that complicated. God, I just, you sit here and you say, I can't believe I have to sit on this planet and talk like, what do I have to do? Start talking ant talk to you people? I mean, do I have to learn how to talk bug talk? I mean, how can people be so fucking stupid? Anyway, so this timestamp should be the correct timestamp. So for when this guy actually says something stupid. So anyway, all right. So they're on the subject. They talk about a little bit. Idiots. I mean, jerk offs. I mean, fuckheads. I mean, what the fuck's his name again? Stefan's first argument is the silliest argument, right? The old, well, why don't you just kill yourself? You know, rape victims choose not to be murder victims because they don't fight back. Because they're choosing to live. No, they're choosing not to be further brutalized and caused even more harm because dying isn't free. You don't just freely choose the dying door. So this is a guy who's always talking about voluntary contracts, and he doesn't understand how dying, the process of dying, which he's experienced personally, he was dying of cancer, is unpleasant. So apparently his therapy did go very well, so he had a very nice chemo and all that kind of stuff, so I guess he just has a false perception. But regardless, dying is unpleasant, often, especially if it's done in some way where you're going to experience it. You know, you just don't get whacked and that's it. So if you're going to experience sensations as you're dying, the sensations of death, one presumes these are not going to be something pleasant and enjoyable, joyful and wonderful. They're going to be unpleasant and nasty and gnarly and just horrible, and it's going to be the worst seconds of your conscious experience kind of thing. Very bad. You know, like having a leaky gallbladder or something. It's just going to be very bad, not very good. And so this is clearly extortion. Okay, people are not living, they're not choosing to live, they're choosing not to go through this horrible experience of getting out the back door. You can't just get up from this table and say, I'm leaving, I'm going home. No, there's a whacker at the door who's going to beat the shit out of you. So he doesn't call that, see, he just doesn't understand what extortion is. And so it's an extortion contract. So right there, you know, this is a guy who's supposed to know what a contract is. This guy's always talking about contracts and blah, 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 and consent and all this other shit. And yet he can't understand a simple thing, that people don't choose to live because they avoid dying. That choosing not to die is not the same as saying, I want to live. They really aren't the same thing. So, yeah, so what we really want is not to be obliged to die. You know, Stefan, you oblige people. You obliged your daughter to die. Okay, you didn't give her a choice. You said, I'm going to force you to have to die. Well, what if she doesn't want to be forced to have to die? Right? Can't undo it. Can't fix it. So what would justice be? I have something in mind. Telephone poles and such. But anyway, so that first argument was just silly, right? Kill yourself is not the solution. I'm not obliged. You have no right to force me to kill myself. Force me into existence and then force me to kill myself. That's not your right. You don't have a right to force me to kill myself. Okay? I have a right to say, leave me the fuck alone, asshole. And you won't do that. Clearly. You're clearly violating my right to be left the fuck alone. Clearly. So anyway. Alright, and let's see, the next one was using discounting. Oh yeah, so then this guy, he makes some sort of comment, and so I guess I'll save this comment for this, because I might as well play it, because I was going to do it by notes, but then I'm saying, oh, this is just going to get too tedious. Not that this hasn't started off rather tedious, but I'm having a bad day. So,
how do we improve policing? That
part was even hilarious. So wait till we get there, but that was funny.
Voluntarism within the family, which is absolutely, completely, and totally consistent with my approach for improving society in every other regard. How do we improve education for children? Make it voluntary.
Oh, this is not the right place. This is really pissing me off. I mean, I go to the trouble to save his goddamn URL. There it is. There's no reason why this shouldn't have worked. And it's playing it from this wrong position. Bastards. Fuck you, YouTube, you suck. Alright, so I'm pasting in the correct time. And I'll hit enter. It should be back here. Now, it just keeps popping back there
How
again.
do you improve the family? And
no, wrong spot. There, see now it's
preferable to being raped.
That's where it should be.
Well, most men and women who are raped choose not to fight to the death, right?
Right, and this is kind of the...
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a logical conclusion that I came to as well, is that if you accept the principle that people shouldn't have kids, then you have to accept that you shouldn't be alive.
There. Oh, now isn't that just brilliant, right? So that's like saying if you find out there's a flaw in a car, and you say, we're not going to make any more of those cars because they're just kind of shitty. That means you have to go back and find all the ones you already made and kill them. You destroy them. No, that's not what you do. You just say, look, we already invested a bunch of stuff in this. It's like a nuclear power plant design, right? It could be not perfect. You could just say, it's just not quite good enough. But yeah, we spent $2 billion on it, so we're not going to tear it to pieces. We're not going to throw it in the garbage. Yeah, we'll use it, finish it up. We're just not going to make any more of them because it's not good enough. So, you know, this is just such stupid logic. Like, because you think there's something wrong with something, it means that you have to, the wrongness is total. And that it means that every ounce of its existence has to be eradicated. Like some sort of God thing, you have to erase Moses' name from the walls and do all this other kind of crap. No, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You just have to say, go to hell, Moses. Fuck off. You don't need to erase his name. Get it? Asshole? Yeah, we're stuck here. We can play out the stupid game. The question is, should you make more of them? Douche bag, whoever you are. Wimpy, pimpy bimp. It just doesn't sound... Just sounds like somebody who... This guy sounds like somebody who's, you know, has some childhood trauma.
Well, but you are alive.
Right.
And you're trying to convince other people to not have children, which if the argument had been successfully applied to your parents, in other words, if your parents had listened to the advice you're giving other parents, you wouldn't be here to give the advice to not have... Anyway.
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't need to be here to give the advice. That's exactly the point. The need would both be gone and I would be gone, and there'd be no problem. But there is a problem. That's right. I can't fix the problem through my behavior. You're the ones causing the problem. It's just clear, okay? I mean, if I say, let's get the rapist, well, I'm not a rapist. You are. Okay, I mean, I can't, you know, this is completely a problem caused by you that has nothing to do with my personal behavior. You can understand that, can't you, Stefan? Okay? This is entirely a problem created by you. Alright? Not me. I have no responsibilities here whatsoever. You're the one with the responsibilities. You're the one who needs to account for why your authority okay, why you should tyrannically impose on my right not to be here. Clearly. I didn't give birth to me. Your kind did. The only way I can stop my future existence or my perpetual existence is to stop you. Right? Right.
So it doesn't UBB itself all too well?
Doesn't UBB itself all too well. UB, I don't know.
Right.
And I think there's a hopelessness in it. And
yeah, well, right. And the idea that we should be hopeful for what? I hope I get some more silly addictions and some more silly ambitions and some more unsatisfied desires that I need to go out there and prove something, and, you know, I need to jerk off in some new and interesting way. Maybe in a woman's vagina. I mean, what the fuck? It's all just a silly wank, okay? You find some sillier new way to do it, but it's all the same shit all over again. That's the game you're playing, and I'm supposed to say there's hope in playing this game over and over to the death. We're playing hopscotch to the death. That's what's going on here. If it was a TV show, hopscotch to the death. And you actually use little kids and killed them. Because that's what we do. We use little kids and kill them. That's what procreation does. It kills children. Often. Hopscotch to the Death, the TV show. You'd vote for it. Yeah. You'd say there's hope. Because Hopscotch, the TV show, is Hopscotch to the Death, the TV show, is finally on the air. Oh, I now can be so full of hope. No.
it's been a long time. I think I last talked to Daniel Mackler after I'd been diagnosed with cancer, but before, and after I'd had my operation. But before I went public with it, when I was in New York. And
fascinating. So this Mescler guy is some sort of something or something? I don't know. I never even heard of him. He apparently is telling people don't have kids because you have fucked up psychology, which just sounds like a reasonable enough argument, but it sounds a little too Freudian too. The reason to not have kids is because there's no good reason to have them except for a selfish reason. You're a selfish son of a fucking cunt. Or daughter of a cunt. You're the selfish byproduct of a slimy, skanky cunt. Yeah. And you should grow some integrity and realize the only reason why you're having kids is because you want it, not because the universe needs it.
I don't know enough about his personality to speak to him.
Oh, right. Like that's never stopped you before, pussy. Yeah, oh. You talk to a guy, you know, that's kind of funny, right? So he goes through this whole thing about, I haven't talked to him since blah, 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 blah. Like, this is a guy he has talked to, like he does know him, and yet he can't speak to his personality. I mean, how long do you need to talk to somebody to speak to their personality? 60 seconds to you, and I pretty much had you pegged, buddy. Arrogant motherfucker.
As an individual. But I could say that what gives me hope...
There we go. The world turns as the world turns. It is kind of funny, right? As the world turns, he's going to talk about hope. Oh, jeez. 3-dimensional soap opera. 4-dimensional soap opera. More drama, please. Oh, that gives him hope. There'll be a new drama. Well, yeah, maybe the new drama could be your daughter's psychiatric, you know, she's gonna have so many little fucking traumas, childhood traumas. I mean, what a whack job she's gonna be by her 18th birthday.
In the future of the world, most fundamentally, is that when you are... No, let me try another tack. That's not for me to speak about, but... How do you improve the family?
There. So let's just change the subject entirely. How do you improve the family? By not having it. You want to score the goal? You want to win and not create too much harm and too much of a mess? You want to not have a disaster? Well, don't plow the train into the brick wall for no reason whatsoever. Don't drive it off the cliff for no reason whatsoever. Oh, shit, improve the family. He's an expert, you know. Yeah, right.
Do you improve the family? This is the most fundamental question. How do you improve the family? And
brainwashing. It's always going to be some kind of brainwashing involved. If you want to have a quiet household, you'll have to brainwash them.
My goal for improving the family is to promote voluntarism within the family.
Oh, gee, well, who cares? My goal for the family is to make sure it never happens again. There. So, at least we've settled our positions, but these aren't really arguments for the position, are they? No, they aren't. So what's your argument for that position? How, this voluntarism thing? Yeah, let's give 6-year-olds the right to decide. They always make good, rational decisions. Like letting the horse live in the living room.
Which is absolutely, completely, and totally consistent with my approach for improving society in every other regard.
Oh,
How do
yes, right. This part's funny. Watch this part.
we improve education for children? Make it voluntary.
Right, so there isn't any. That'll be a good improvement. Right, don't give poor people education. Yes, that's going to make society so much better. Oh, yes, that'll improve their family so much. Oh, no, that means it'll improve your family so much, because then you'll have slaves, real ones.
Right? How do we improve sex? How do we differentiate it from rape? We make it voluntary.
Well, we already know how to do that, so that one we really don't need your advice on, right? Everybody's already anti-rape, newsflash, except you, right? You would effectively rape, right? You would put people in circumstances like giving birth to them, and then say, kill yourself or let me rape you. And economically, you would put people in desperate circumstances, allow them to be birthed to poverty, give them no means of education to escape their poverty, and then you would extort them for sex. I'll give you a piece of moldy bread if you'll spread your legs for me. Yeah, you're really a nice guy. All about voluntary contracts. Yeah, fuck you.
How do we improve policing? We make it voluntary because with voluntarism comes competition, comes improvement.
Whatever. Voluntary police. I'll have my cop, you can have your cop, and I'm just going to try to make sure my cop hits first. Ask questions later, right? I win that way, right? There's no way to win if my cop isn't just as mean a motherfucker as it could be. Yes, kill everything in your way. Yes, very good, cop. Thank you.
How do we improve the economy? We make it voluntary. How do we make it?
Oh, yeah, whatever. Voluntary economy. Which doesn't mean anything, right? It means that everybody gets to print their own money and then say, trust me. Oh, yeah, that'll be so cool. Woo. Yeah, I don't think that'll work. I don't think anybody will get job 1 done. Job 2, job 17, job 568. Yeah, nothing will get fucking done.
Restaurants better. We make them voluntary. So,
Voluntary restaurant? Now, I'm saying there's no way this can make any sense, right? A voluntary restaurant? That somehow we don't have voluntary restaurants? Let's see what this is.
The Soviet Union, there was some restaurant assigned there by the government that didn't have to provide any good service for you to eat there.
They forced people to eat at the government restaurant? When was that? Yeah, what was that? 1936? What is that? What? I don't even know what. I can't even. You can't even comment on something that ludicrous, right? The evil government restaurant full of the evil government restaurateurs. You know. I mean, come on. I mean, really. So you're living in a town with other people, and you go to the government restaurant that's in the employees are basically your next door neighbor, and you're worried? No, you worry is because there's some kid getting paid $5 an hour, okay, who really just doesn't give a shit and could be on crack or whatever the fuck, and he's the one fucking with your food now, in the voluntary capitalist restaurant business. Well, anyway, I'm not going to defend. I have no reason to defend communist restauranting, okay? I'm not for communist restauranting. But it just seems like he's reached far and wide across the universe for silly arguments before. But I mean, to bring up the communist restaurant? Holy shit.
How do we improve the human condition? By promoting voluntarism. Now,
no, yes, exactly. Voluntarism in existence. So I'm saying do not take the risk of having a child who may be me. Something like me. And so, yeah, so you basically can't have kids because you don't know what's going to pop out. And so, yeah, just quit taking that risk. Quit forcing life on things that didn't ask for it. You don't have consent, so until you have a sure thing, you got no reason to bet with their balls. So quit betting with my balls, fuckhead.
there are two kinds of compulsion in the world.
What does that mean, compulsion? I mean, he means what? Desires? There's two kinds of desires? Okay, let's hear what they are.
There is force, right, which is the equivalent in 1916.
So he's turned the word compulsion not into an internal dynamic, but into coercion. So he's using the word compulsion to describe coercion.
In England, they began to use the draft to get the young men into the trenches because
that's called force, essentially, right? There's no compulsion involved. They're forced or go to jail. So, I mean, I guess you could say they're extorted, but it's like anything then. You can almost say that all things are just a compulsion then. All law is a compulsion. Well, I don't think that'd be a sensible way to describe it. I mean, obviously, if you're giving no real choice, it's force. Yes. And again, there's always going to be forced rules. There's always going to be rules that have to be imposed by force, or you won't have anything. You'll just have rape and pillage, and whoever does it best.
It's male privilege. White male privilege, if I remember rightly. So they started using the draft. But before that, it was social pressure. And social pressure is very close to being as compulsive as force. Because for most people, unarmed by philosophy, social rejection or ostracism is as painful as physical.
Okay, well, this really isn't on the subject, so I guess I'll take a break. And I really don't want to listen to the rest of this thing because it doesn't sound like he's going to be on the subject at all. But anyway, I'll be back. I'll sum up, or I'll be back where he's making some sort of argument about the meaning of life again and why he has a right to impose it non-consensually on people who didn't volunteer for it. Whoa, I'm back. That you noticed. So yeah, really just a complete waste of time. Just went on about communism and this voluntary family thing, which I guess means something like, you don't have no obligations to kids or old people, or everybody can just run away. Yeah, you don't like it, just run away. Which I'm sort of for, right? So this is sort of a little irony, but yeah, I mean, I'm sort of for this idea of giving somebody a real choice. You can't give kids real choices unless you create some sort of mechanism, where they have a choice, where they can say, I'm just leaving. And they can go to some sort of boys' town or girls' town, right? So, Disneyland orphanage, as I've proposed. And, yeah, this to me seems a social responsibility, but that's not where you're going to finance something like that, is you have to do it socially. And then you can give kids a real choice. Then you can have a voluntary family. But you can't have voluntary family unless you have real options. And you're not going to give kids enough options. So it's all bogus talk from this guy again. I mean, it's all just words. There's nothing practical. Nothing pragmatically practical So anyway, here he says something, I think at the 10-minute mark or so. So we'll play that and sum up. Because, yeah, he really doesn't talk about the subject at all. He just does his commies, voluntary family thing.
Then I can understand how nihilism regarding child raising could come along. Regarding having children. Right? If you can't figure out how to get out of hell, why would you want it more populated? But I think, in fact, I know that how we get out of hell is the voluntary family.
There you go. Okay, so he says he's got a cure for the ills of life. But you see, it's more of this hypocrisy, right? It's not like, no, the idea is fundamentally impossible or untenable. No, it is, I have my standards. So when life gets this bad, okay, so if he knew for certain that the blight of our society, if I gave him a crystal ball and it showed that the future will be as it looks, where your voluntary family thing ain't going to happen, and they're going to keep doing their institutionalized schools, and they're going to keep on having this traditional shit and Christmas and all this other bullshit, and that's going to be the reality. Well, then would you concede? Okay, you'd push the button then? You'd say, no, let's not do that future? And that's his argument, essentially. I can understand it under these conditions, but I can't understand it under those conditions. So you're just making it a conditional argument, but you're not really defending that the conditional argument, because my conditional argument to you would be is it's not up to for you, the perpetrator of rape, to define rape. No, that's not how we define rape. It has to be some sort of agreed upon decision, agreed upon by the collective opinion of the victims and maybe the collective opinion of the perpetrators, and somehow you mix that all together and you get an opinion. But why should you just arrogantly say, I'm going to discount your opinion and say, screw you, I'm going to make victims and they're going to be disposable because I'm on a mission from what? God? What's your mission? What's your justification for you to clearly create the territory you're trespassing on? It's not your property. It is a new property. Let's concede you're creating a new territory and you're taking a big giant dump on it. You're imposing it. They just keep evading that subject, and that's the subject, right? I've said it before. If you don't have consent, just because you can't get it, because your victim is comatose or whatever, and you can't get consent, that means your responsibility goes higher. That means you have to have a damn good reason to create that territory and to take a shit in it. You have to not only display some argument explaining how your motives are pure, but that somehow your reasoning, that your calculation of accomplishment somehow is rational. I'm going to take a risk for you. No, fuck you. You're already in trouble. I'm going to take a risk for you? No, no. No, you're not. Yeah, so that's just... like I said, I can't believe that people, these drones he has, and these are real drones. Oh, yeah, Stefan, I understand, snarly. These people are so fucking stupid, they can't figure out that his plan can't be implemented. That if his plan was implemented, you'd have next door neighbors that had fucking AK-47s and Stinger missiles and drones and a nuclear power plant, and they'd be doing experiments on anthrax trying to cure cancer. You can't understand how your life would be untenable in a world where people were allowed to do whatever they wanted with their gas lines and do whatever they wanted to do with their gasoline and do whatever they wanted, and to buy any kind of crazy-ass vehicle that's sold. No rules about what kind of car you drive on the road. You can go through the list of the 9 million things where you're saying, how the fuck can you say this? How can you be this stupid to think that you don't have to put a system in place that says that forcibly says, no, you can't sell a blender where the little steel wheel flies off and flies out of the blender. No, you can't sell that. So anyway, I guess I hadn't done a Stefan Molyneux video in a while, so it's worth doing. But look, they can have a rational, fair economic system, no coercion, no extortion, no beat them up because they're down kind of bullshit. Just, yes, but have a deserved kind of system. Have a system where you do a little bit of earning. That you gain privilege through accomplishment, not nepotism, not family, not ancestry, not based on the vagina you pop out of. Yeah, make it fair. Wow, fair. Oh, dear. We're not smart enough to do fair. This asshole thinks you can do something called a voluntary family. Why don't we do a fair family? Why don't we do a fair world? Yeah, she's just not very ambitious. Anyway, but clearly, it's just no point on voluntary family when you're not talking about voluntary participation in the existence in the family. I should be able to voluntarily say, no, unless you can prove you got a damn good reason, don't spark no life in me, buddy. Fucky Yui. So if I was your kid, Stefan, if you're probably not listening to this, but if you were if you were listening, and I was your son, and let's say I just now, my 18th birthday, I was basically saying, man, I've listened to you drone on about all this nonsense and all this bullshit. Okay, all you're basically making is excuses for irrational psychology. All we're made out of is irrational psychology. Your whole life history is a demonstration of it. You've just been some guy who's trying to make, compensation. You're just a guy trying to compensate. So if I get enough money, then I'll have a bigger penis. If I get enough this, my hair will grow back, or whatever you're doing. But it's all psychological passion. It doesn't go anywhere. I find this whole planet disgusting, okay? It's covered with bugs. Okay, and then everything is just eating each other for nothing. It's a silly contest where you kill 1,000 to make one, and the one is just Frankenstein. Really, you kill 1,000 baby praying mantises to make what? Killer praying mantis. It's just what is it? This isn't a useful fucking slop. This is disgusting, this shit. So what if I was your son? I said, well, how are you going to pay me back? You threw me in here, now I have to kill myself, you motherfucker. I have to go to the trouble to kill myself. I have to go through this trauma. Alright, because of you, you stupid cunt. How are you going to pay me back, fucker? How are you going to compensate me for the damage you just did? Can I go to your mob, your DRO, and file a claim? Is it possible for me to go to your DRO and file a claim and say this motherfucker violated me and is now obliging me to endure pain and suffering for an absolutely no good reason because he had some silly notion in his fucking idiotic, psychotically ambitious head? But what would your response be, sincerely, to a child who was totally disaffected by this silly, sappy, idiotic game you're playing? You think the traditional family is a sappy pile of shit? Well, I think your whole ambitious, let's create all this industry so we can blah 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 blah, so we can make what? Atomic flapjacks. You're not accomplishing anything either, douchebag. You think the leather jacket is going to help? Well, it's not. It's not going to make you anything better. So anyway, I think that's enough for the video. So anyway, irritable. You might have noticed that I'm just kind of irritable. Yeah, really, it's just despondent. Yeah, I was already depressed, and then I got, like I said, it's like a knife in my shoulder blades. Right, it's not there right now, but yeah, it'll show up later. It's like an actual knife stuck in between my shoulder blades. I've had it before, but it goes away. But it's just, I don't even know what the fuck that. It's not really a backache, but it's in my back. You know what I mean? It's not a spine thing, but ooh, it's nasty, achy. It goes right through your arms. It's like sciatica in your neck or something. But anyway, doesn't matter. And then my knee went bad. Now every time I get up, my knee is like a knife in my kneecap. Anyway, just feeling my age today and yesterday, or the day before. I probably sound a lot better than I actually am. I actually am just miserable. But anyway, I can feel myself blinking. You know, you're just so, sometimes you're just so bad you can actually feel when you blink because you're, you know, everything's just so. Yeah. Anyway, shouldn't complain. Well, why shouldn't I? Everybody should just complain a lot more. It's the only valid thing to do is just to point out that this isn't good enough. It's just not good enough. So until next time.